A few days ago I scrolled across the gaming news and spotted something that excited and concerned me a bit. Blizzard, Twitch, Epic, Riot and more than 30 other companies have formed a union, named Fair Play Alliance. Its mission statement: remove harassment, discrimination and abuse, and create an environment where players can express themselves through play. They want to facilitate good and friendly behavior and promote those who behave nicely, and potentially punish and/or ban those who commit offenses like racist outbursts. On the one hand, I am happy. Racists are something that nobody needs in gaming. Getting rid of them is nice for everyone. Then on the other hand, seeing some of the things that the involved companies did so far and how they defined racism, that might turn out not so well in the end. As someone who plays multiplayer games almost every day, I of course come across the occasional unfriendly opponent or teammate. Sometimes several times a day, on other days there are no unfriendly players at all, but that really depends on the game I play. And with unfriendly, I don't even mean the occasional angry opponent who calls you a cheater, or the yelling kid who can't control his anger after losing a match. To be honest, I find that rather hilarious. But I guess that's up to interpretation, and a matter of the often called upon thick skin that one is supposed to grow. But maybe what I consider to be harmless, others may find threatening. But who knows, it's all up to personal opinion and, well, personal feelings, I guess. So when someone starts talking trash, I find that to be pretty amusing. And from time to time, a bit cringy when grown men start to insult each other like a bunch of 12-year-olds on the school playground. What I really find annoying are people who just spam their microphone, yelling all the time and so on. I know I can block these people, but going through the list disabling communications, well, that's time that could be spent playing. I suppose everyone listening knows these people, and everyone would agree these people are freaking annoying. Sure, everyone gets mad from time to time. Yelling at teammates who mess up is a thing that happens everywhere where the setting is competitive, online or offline. I just notice with myself, the older I get, the calmer I become. Shit, I'm getting old.
As soon as I was in my 40s, I'd look in the mirror and I'd say, well, I guess I'm getting older.
So the Fair Play Alliance wants to combat all the bad things we listed, using a broad term, toxic players. In theory, I do not mind banning people for racist slurs or homophobic insults. But then again, how do you define them? Let's say players call each other faggots. Just how guys do it, insult each other in a playful manner. Should that be a bannable offense? What if those players using the said word are gay themselves? Is that still homophobic? If you take it out of context, it very well may be perceived as a very homophobic conversation. How is Blizzard supposed to know the context? And do they give a damn about the context? Or let's leave the example of insults behind. Let's say someone criticizes the developer's works harshly. Can this new alliance and the method of control they are developing be used to suppress negative opinions? Ban people who bring negative attention to the product? Last example, let's say two players are having a political discussion, totally unrelated to the game. Can one of the players be banned because the company disagrees with the political opinion? And there we are at the point where it becomes important how they define, for example, racism. Blizzard recently banned all depictions of the Pepe meme. Why? Well, by mainstream media opinion, Pepe the Frog is a hate symbol. Just to be clear here, Pepe is just a frog with various expressions, and these can be used by anyone to convey any message. Basically, there's a Pepe for everyone, and there are pretty racist Pepe Nazi memes. And then on the other hand, there are communist Pepe memes, and the majority of them is completely unpolitical stuff, just like the Pepe memes that had led to Blizzard banning them. Same goes for the TriHard meme that recently placed a player/streamer in pretty hot water. Just like Pepe, it is not inherently racist, but I let the man himself explain that. This is a piece from an interview with theScore esports YouTube channel.
Once you remove TriHard and you know what you're telling the ship posters? Oh, we do get triggered and your negative things do get to us. So then it's going to be a new game. It's going to be, oh, if we can do it with TriHard, we can be offensive shitters with every other emote and we can just make them forever remove things because we're such an influencing power. Like, you're empowering negativity actually by removing it.
The big problem with banning these memes is that you empower the bad actors. That you ban Pepes with swastikas is perfectly understandable, but a simple smug-looking frog? Well, congratulations, the terrorists just won, and it's just a matter of time until they appropriate the next thing. One big part of the reason why Pepe is so popular, is the reaction it provokes from a lot of news outlets and even Hillary Clinton. When you complain about a cartoon frog as a presidential candidate, you make yourself look like a massive idiot and make the meme even funnier. You are pouring gasoline into the fire yourself. This alliance that just formed could potentially be a tool of, let's call it, virtual crowd control. Controversial topics like Gamergate being discussed in their forums in their video games. No, we're not having that, swinging the ban hammer. Depending on which tools they are planning to use, they could take a few notes out of the Chinese playbook of internet surveillance. Heard they are pretty effective over there. If their tools are being used to ban spammers and harassers, then I'm pretty fine with what they are doing. This could turn out to be a good thing. And just for the record, I don't define harassment as simply disagreeing with someone and being a little rude. Then I could send several harassment complaints every day for just looking at my comment section. With harassment, I mean death threats, things that are a punishable offense under the law. And while we are talking about banning, the policing of video games was a lot easier in the past and not that much of an issue. Sure, in the past video games like first-person shooters were not as much of a mass phenomenon as they are today. When something goes mainstream, it of course attracts a lot more people, and amongst them of course a few idiots. But a simple method of self-policing has been pushed away more and more in recent years. I am talking about dedicated servers. Back when people had their own servers, they had control over who is playing. A spammer or cheater or general offender could be kicked and banned quickly. Today, the only method of combating bad behavior is to report and then hope that somebody does something. Just join an old Battlefield or Counter-Strike server. You will most certainly see server rules stating no insults, no racism, and so on. The gaming community at large does not approve of these things. Back when we were able to police ourselves and enforce the rules of common decency, I do not recall having large spread issues with racists, sexists, and so on. I do remember getting kicked off a French server from time to time for being German, but wasn't much fun playing against them anyways. They usually surrendered after the first 2 rounds. Disclaimer. This was supposed to be a humorous remark. Please do not ban me. Well, back to topic. Allowing a game to have community servers can potentially hurt profits when you want to carry a community over from one annual release to another, or when you just want to have as much control over the community as possible. When you want to have amazing publicity all the time and great profits, I guess you just have to tolerate carrying it way too far in your attempts of sanitizing your player base and walk along a slippery slope into censorship. Yes, of course, they are private companies and can do whatever they want in regards to regulating their games. But passing judgment inside a game for things that happen outside of a game? That is carrying it way too far. You make a joke about something we don't approve of, completely unrelated to our game and not even on our platform? Guess we have to exclude you from a service that you paid money for. Doesn't this sound a bit like businesses refusing to serve people for having the wrong sexuality in their opinion? So on the issue of combating toxic players with this alliance, my opinion remains split and I stay skeptical. Because way too often those who claim to fight against toxicity in video games were dishonest players themselves. Every time when someone stands up and says, "Oh, we need to do something about these horrible games, we need to improve gaming culture, we need to do this and that," then every time my alarm flags go off and I become very, very cautious. So, what do you guys think of this? Maybe you can win me for one side or the other. I guess see you in the comment section then. Till then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag. Here's a little something I have to cut in at the end. After we were done with the script and it was recorded, one of us went to capture some gameplay footage of Rainbow Six Siege. There we witnessed a massive ban wave due to toxic behavior, which went on for several minutes. We looked up the official Rainbow Six Reddit to find out what led to these recent bans. And just like we suspected, it was due to the implementation of new community guidelines, which are of course a bit wishy-washy in some areas and are up to interpretation. One of the things that they apparently define as toxic behavior are deliberate team kills, a thing that I would agree with them on. And they seem to be aware that a competitive game does include smack talk that they are willing to tolerate to some degree. To which degree that is, they did not exactly say though. So as with the manual reviews on YouTube, it is up to personal feelings of the reviewer if something constitutes toxic behavior or not. That will likely lead to inconsistency when it comes to applying the rules, because not every case is as clear-cut as spewing racist insults. Therefore, I remain curious of what the future will bring. cause we already had some reports of this new system being abused. People being reported and banned for things that were described as tolerable on the subreddit. So, see you guys next time. Like I said before, it would be interesting to hear your opinions on the matter, whether you are for or against the implementation of stricter rules of behavior. And in particular, I am curious of what you guys think about video game companies taking people's behavior outside of the game into account. Till then, have a nice day and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.